29. I am currently in the beautiful Kyiv, so I thought of making this a bit unconventional given the current situation. I will be taking you around the city, showing you some highlights. There are some beautiful museums, parks, just a lot about the city. So I thought of taking you on a little trip through the city and showing you what it's about. It is for sure a place that I would recommend you visit someday. There is a lot, culturally, scenic, beautiful. So let's go on an adventure. It is a beautiful sunny day in Kyiv. I am on a morning stroll on my way to find a coffee shop, and I'm passing the Golden Gate now, so cool. It's beautiful. So I'm just literally wandering around the city. On the top of the hill is St. Andriiv's Cathedral. I am seemingly in like the old towns with beautiful cobble pavements. I kind of like my new style where I'm just trying to spend a bit longer in one place, because then it means I can just do a bit more in a slower pace. In search of the National Museum. This is the earliest monastery church in Kyiv, and considered basically founding of Christianity, or the triumph of Christianity in Kyiv. Still currently in the center, and everything is very closely located to each other, so a lot of churches. I think it's the St. Andrews. I passed it earlier, but I think that's the St. Andrews Museum. The first part of the museum illustrates a lot of things since the start of the full-scale invasion. So this museum changes over time, and this part is so relevant to the recent history. Just reading everything makes it so real, where most of these artifacts were part of when they tried to invade Kyiv, which is where I currently am. It's quite scary and sad. Such a cool view of the initial layout of Kyiv. It's such a nice way of describing what one still sees, the high part at the top and then lower down the surroundings. So I am currently in the Kyiv National Museum, illustrating just so much aspects of the Ukrainian history, and it is such a beautiful place to just get familiar with this rich country full of culture and history, and really, really something special. So the museum changes over time. Currently the main exhibition is of the full-scale invasion, and so it's just really amazing being able to get a better view and understanding of what makes up this beautiful country. Okay, so more on the beautiful flag. Ukraine became a democracy in 1990, and it was in July 24th where the flag was formally approved. Walking away from the museum, it's quite hard not to kind of want to dwell on the subject of the war. Went through 2 exhibitions of specific places where they tribute to where soldiers were attacked and places that were occupied, and it's really quite tough, just having it be so real in that situation. So something I always say is that I don't think one would be able to understand the situation until your country's at war, and obviously that is something that one would not wish on anyone. So that is, I think also why I didn't want to discuss this, because of it being so hard to fathom what it's like if your country's not at war. So that's the reality of the situation. Very famous and historical street located on the top of the descent and on top of the hill. It used to be like markets lined on the streets. Over here we have Artists Alley with art lined up all along this pathway. Over the weekend when I passed here, there was a lot of people, and to me it was kind of an illustration of how things have gone back to normality. But pose the question to people what would you do if it was constant, your life was constant chaos. You know, at what point does one decide to just go back to normal? So maybe just a question which I would pose to people, you know, trying to get understanding of how things can just be so normal, because over there we've got the bottom part of the city. Statue of Vladimir the Great, very important in the history. So quick fun fact on the statues, so they actually covered by like a soft wood, and initially I was like, you know, how is that going to protect it? And it's actually not necessarily to protect. If there was a direct attack on your statue, it would basically just protect it if there was in a nearby building was hit, and so that the pieces, it doesn't break off like sensitive parts of the statue, if it makes sense. So direct target not going to help, but it's more focused on just if there's a nearby building targeted, it would, the pieces that come off that building, like the shattering thereof, wouldn't destroy the statue. So most of the important statues in the city are covered. Friendship Arch. This was built post independence to basically show solidarity with other countries that were part of the former Soviet Union. Made it to Sophia Square. So over here we have a statue of Bohdan, and he was, let's call it, the founder of Kyiv. Very important figure in terms of nationalism and liberation of Ukraine. And so to my left they have put up commemorations for fallen soldiers. I prefer not walking through it, just out of respect. So it's quite challenging in these situations to, you know, be filming and showing things because you don't want to be offending anyone, and you want to be sensitive towards people's culture, and, you know, just also sometimes be factually correct. So over here is the Sophia Cathedral. So very interesting. This is it was named after the Hagia Sophia. Now, Hagia Sophia is a very, very important mosque in Istanbul. So I've actually been there, and for me it was very interesting because it's a mosque, but it was previously also a cathedral. So it's very interesting that this Sophia, it was named after that. So I'm heading to the Golden Gate, which is very interestingly also there's a Golden Gate which was the original one, was actually in Istanbul, and I did not know that. And the one I read that the one in San Francisco is actually also named after that one. So I am very excited to show you. It is one of the most important places in Kyiv, and also a UNESCO monument. So very important part of the city. So reaching the Golden Gate. So the first time I walked past it was quite funny. I saw this wooden structure and I thought it's protection for the structure, but I think it's safe to say that it is part of the structure. The Golden Gate is the entrance to the ancient Kyiv. It was rebuilt in the 1980s, which is quite interesting because it was apparently destroyed at one point in time, and they really did not know how it was supposed to look, so they rebuilt it without really knowing. But as I mentioned, the name comes from, it's a replica, or it's derived from a Golden Gate, which is also located in Istanbul. So it's not gold, but it's so quite a nice site. Ahead of me, it's interesting metro. The metro obviously has a lot of significance. As I walk through these beautiful streets and parks, I've been here now for 1 week, and I just once again came to the realization that the longer you stay in a place, the more complexity you learn about it, more about the people and stuff. So in 1 week, if I had this revelation in 1 week, just imagine how it's going to be once I find my forever home. I cannot wait. And I will also be going to what I think is one of the most unique museums I have ever come across or seen. So I read up about it too, and it's pretty interesting. So let's go find out. So I have made it to Independence Square. So this is a very controversial place in terms of political movement. So there's been some major political movements in the square. I read that in the past there actually used to be like non-political Christmas markets and so forth here too, but due to a very violent one which occurred in 2013, they've now moved it to Sophia Square. So this place obviously super significant in just everything, all of the struggles that Ukrainians have undergone. It's a really, really beautiful place in the city. And at the bottom, so these domes, it's apparently like a shopping mall. So I am now wanting to get to the other side to show you the beautiful statue, the Independence. It's also called Maiden Square, which means independence. So let's go see. There we have the beautiful statue. Everything is very closely located to each other. Ahead of me there's some more memorial for fallen soldiers. There are a lot of them across the city. Sign, Independence Square. Now I'm heading to a very unique museum which is located on the other side there. So I came across the square by accident over this weekend, so thought I'd come back and show you and then also go to the museum. While being in the square, I thought I'd tell you a bit more about, just Ukrainians in general. So the first thing that I really noted, and I actually spoke to someone about it, and it's maybe just the area that I am in Ukraine, but people are very stylish. So I don't travel with my most fancy wear or whatever, and when I came here I felt so self-conscious because everyone is like super dressed all the time. And yeah, so that was just something I really noted when coming here. Like, everyone's beautiful, but it's very, very, very stylish. Okay, look where we came, the Museum of Jellyfish. I read up about this and it's apparently really cool. Some live jellyfish displays, so let's go see.